Welcome, I'm Sandy Sponaugle, and today we are going to be talking about how to use branding, communications, and marketing strategies to land your dream job. But before we do that, I would like to do a little commercial for the Shepherd University Alumni Association. As a past president of the Alumni Association, this particular project, this video series, was something that was the brainchild of Kim Hutto, our executive director, and so we are kicking that off with you today. Hopefully this video you'll be able to, you will have watched, I don't know when you're watching it, we're recording it as you saw in January of 2019. So a little bit about me. Why am I here? Why am I able to talk about this topic? I am not an HR professional, I am a marketing and PR professional. A little bit about myself. My name is Sandy Sponaugle. I graduated from Shepherd in 1995. So yes, that makes me old. But I own a marketing and PR firm, actually headquartered here in Shepherdstown. I also have an office in Frederick, Maryland. Highlighted some of my social networks here on the screen, and we're going to be talking about LinkedIn. So I decided to show that to you as well. I'm hoping that there are going to be a lot of you watching this video and you'll be inspired to reach out and connect with me on LinkedIn after you set up or enhance your LinkedIn profile. So to start off, oh my gosh, your dream job. What does that mean? I mean, seriously? No pressure here, right? I never would have guessed that I would be doing this type of work at this point in my career, at this point in my life. So if somebody had asked me right out of college what I would be doing, it was not been to be a small business owner. I would not be doing this. I had a different career path after school, and that's what I spent the most of my time focused on. That experience and that work obviously has shifted and has helped to shape the work that I do today. But I think it's really important for individuals, whether you are currently in college or you are, a new graduate, or you're looking for a turning point in your career. It's really important for you to think about what's important to you, what values are important, what type of lifestyle is important. Do you want to live in a big city? Would you rather live in a small town? Would you like to work for a small business? Would you like to work for a large corporation? Do you want to be, a part of a team? We've got these, work environments that are, all open space and, no walls, and everybody's working in one big room, which is great. Or would you, prefer to work in more solitude? I was in a business yesterday where the sales team had this, large open space, and then I was actually taking my computer in to get it worked on, and we went back into the dungeon that was the help desk, kind of IT room. The light dimmed, the room was very dark. I don't think there was a window to be seen. I certainly couldn't see anything. I thought that, it was just, for me, the most uncomfortable environment. But for the help desk guys that were working there, it was perfect. And of course, I had my little baby, my laptop, back within hours. So all was well with the world. So a dream job for you is going to be very different from a dream job for me. And I would encourage you just to really kind of breathe into it and start to come up with some ideas and thoughts of what that looks like. And I give you permission right now for that to change. I give you permission for you to kind of, you changed your major, I'm sure, when you went to college, didn't we all? I give you permission to change your career path at any time and find what works for you. Again, kind of building off of that, identifying what you want, identifying what works right for you. As I talked about, you want to find an environment that cultivates your creativity and helps you to be the best version of yourself, and figuring out what that looks like. Again, that's going to be very different for me than it will be for, the IT help desk guy that I was working with yesterday. So figuring out, what your core values are, what's important, where you can shine, And again, you might think that you can shine in one environment and, again, full permission to change course at any time. But before we do that, we're going to kind of take a step back and figure out how to create a brand, how to create an identity for yourself that feels right. When you're out there promoting yourself and searching for a job or looking for your first job or your next job, and figuring out what your career is going to look like. I've got a couple of things that we're going to go through, but really your brand is everything. It's who you are. It's how you present yourself. It's everything from the clothes you wear to the words and the phrases that you use. I tend to have a bit of a sailor's mouth, so on this video I'm going to try to be on my best behavior, but if you're with me in a very casual environment, you'll find out that I can be very relaxed and tend to adapt I tend to adapt in the environment that I'm in. So that works well for me. Your brand from a job searching perspective is really going to be showcased in many different products, and that's really what these are. You might just think of your resume as the only piece, or you may think of your personal website or your blog as the only piece, but it's really so much more than that. Your LinkedIn profile, if you don't have one, we're going to talk a little bit later about why you need to establish one. Your social networks and what you're doing online. As somebody who has hired many students as interns or has hired fellow colleagues from Shepherd and from other colleges and universities in the area, trust me, we search, and if I'm not connected with you, I'm finding others that are. So we're all looking for ways to kind of dig a little deeper and do the research to find out who you are after you've made contact, or if we've reached out to you because we've seen something amazing that you've done. Your elevator pitch. We've all been in environments where somebody is asking you, so where are you going to college? What are you going to do? Where are you working? What's your thing? Figure out, come up with an elevator pitch, come up with something that explains that very succinctly, that teases people with a little bit of information about you, but gets them wanting to know more about you. So you want to, not overwhelm. You want to keep it brief, and you want to give the listener the opportunity to ask questions. So thinking about what that elevator pitch is, it should be about 15 to 30 seconds. I like 15 seconds because honestly, you can say a lot in 15 seconds. Again, if you're looking for a job, what type of job are you looking at? Why are you looking for a job? What type of job do you think that you would excel in? What are you looking to contribute to a business, to a team, to your community, or to just mankind, and thinking about different ways of selling that. A lot of people have personal websites or personal blogs, and those personal websites and blogs might be another opportunity for you to showcase your special skills or your extracurricular interests, things like that. As the owner of a communications company, I will always look at a personal website or a blog before hiring somebody. I want to find out your writing style when you're not getting graded, or your writing style when somebody else isn't proofreading, or just to find out kind of what you feel comfortable, and to find, I want people on my team that have extracurricular activities and have are well-rounded and will be able to carry on a conversation with a client or a prospective client. So understanding some of your hobbies and interests through a personal website or a personal blog is really helpful. Your strengths. One of the things that I've been using for the last couple of years is a tool called Strength Finder. It was a book I purchased many years ago. I would encourage you to check it out. But if you Google Clifton Strengths or Gallup Strength Finder, and I have revealed to you my strengths up on the screen. So this tool, it costs, I think it's about $30 to do it, and you answer a host of questions. It doesn't take that long, but it will help you to become more aware of your own individual strengths. We all have different strengths. It doesn't mean that I'm bad at everything else, but these are the areas that I tend to excel in. And I don't, it'll take me a second to describe each one of them. But an activator is somebody that kind of sees a problem and is always working towards a solution. The adaptability, as I talked about earlier, kind of being able to adapt in the environment and the group that I'm in, that is a particular strength of mine, and it may be one of yours too. Individualization, I really enjoy finding out what you're really good at, and how your special skills and strengths can be used to help make our team stronger. So the individualization thing is something that I have a lot of fun with. Maximizer is very much in line with the individualization, where I'm trying to maximize everybody's individual strengths. If you have a particular skill and passion in writing, then we want to foster that. If you prefer video, or or amazing photographer, or just have a passion and an interest in it, then that's what we want to drill out. And positivity, honestly, I'm kind of annoyingly positive most of the time, so we're going to keep it as a strength. So I encourage you to find your strengths, and then figure out how you can marry them to your skills. And those skills can truly be anything. Way back in the day, I was really good at using, Microsoft Word and things like that. Now it becomes kind of more commonplace, and you honestly have to have adapted to that. But if there is a particular form of technology, and I hate to tell you, but knowing how to post to Instagram and knowing how to use hashtags appropriately doesn't cut it. It has to be more than that. But figuring out what your particular skills are. You have a great graphic eye, or you're very analytical, or you are an amazing researcher, and really digging deep into a situation and trying to kind of come up with the answers. This is one of the areas that particularly for new college students or new graduates, I find that they tend to have a lot of struggles, because you're supposed to, apply for your first job or get your first job only after you've had all this experience. So I encourage you to think creatively about defining experience. Your skills may come from what you have done with a sports team, or a sorority or fraternity that you've been involved with, or some other leadership role that you've taken on campus, or maybe you have had a part-time job or a full-time job, in school, and it might be that you were a waiter or waitress, but so those people skills, those interpersonal skills, the time management skills, the multitasking, all of those different things are all very transferable in a more traditional work environment, where you're trying to next level your career. So thinking about kind of defining experience and skills in ways that are transferable to the job that you're looking for, that magical dream job. So here we've identified your brand. We have, you're starting to think about, putting together, packaging your resume, packaging your elevator speech. You have identified some of your special strengths and your skills, and the areas that you want to work with. And now we're going to start to practice that elevator speech, and, reaching out and connecting with people on both in social media environments, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We can run through the host of them, but looking at opportunities to broaden your network, or putting out there what it is that you're looking for. And then obviously the direct contacts. We run into people and have opportunities every single day in everything that we do, whether you are here in town at a local restaurant, interacting with presumably even the restaurant owner, that might have a long-term customer that is looking to hire somebody that meets your skill set. So every opportunity, every connection that you make online or in person is an opportunity to connect with that next potential employer. Now, bringing it all together, and somebody, when I was preparing for this workshop, somebody asked me, how do we get attention? How do you get somebody's attention when you're looking for a job? And kind of finding that balance between being aggressive and, not being annoying, and, really just finding that balance. So you want to bring it all together and then use what you have identified from a self-identification perspective, and then start to get into the, a little bit more traditional research pieces. I'm not going to touch on, where to look for jobs. You can do all of that, online and in some of those direct contacts that we talked about. I think that that's something for, probably another workshop or something from a traditional, HR professional. What I'm trying to do today is to kind of position you so that you're ready to start, or you are putting the best foot forward when you get into identifying, those opportunities. So everybody talks about LinkedIn. Oh my gosh, I would have envisioned that at some point in your college career, or after you've graduated, that somebody has said, so are you on LinkedIn? And the answer generally is yes, but I don't really know what to do with it. So LinkedIn, there are over 500 million people using LinkedIn. So there must be something going on there. LinkedIn is a huge social site that is honestly very much like your online resume. So we've taken your brand, we've figured out kind of who you are and what you do and your special skills and your experience, and identified your strengths, and you're going to put together your LinkedIn profile. So I used mine as an example because I wanted you to know that I haven't always been blonde, but more than that, it's easier if I pick on myself. So here you can see there is an opportunity very similar to Facebook for you to have a cover graphic. Because what I do, I'm not looking for a job, but I am looking for clients, and I utilize LinkedIn from that capacity. So it can be really helpful. So that header graphic is identifying, potential. I think this has a thing. Graphic is identifying kind of who my target audience is. We do work for communities, primarily economic development and tourism-based organizations within communities. So I've got, my name highlighted and, a one-liner. So there are different opportunities within LinkedIn to kind of fill in the blanks. It is just a template, and I encourage you to fill in every blank. Use every piece of real estate that it gives you as an opportunity. So I've stated here my company, Platinum PR, because I want to, and I'm very proud of being a Shepherd grad, even though it was Shepherd College when I graduated. A Shepherd grad, I do, very proudly display that I am within that Shepherd University network. So if I also have contact information, so if anybody wanted to call or email me or send me a direct message, if you were connected with me, if you weren't me and you were looking, there would be a button to send me a message. And then, obviously I have taken some time and focused on establishing connections. I do say the DC metro area, because it broadens the reach a little bit. You do want that to be, I believe, as broad but not misleading as possible. I do like filling in that piece. This add profile section is only here because it's mine, so that would be on yours as you're setting up your piece. And then there's an opportunity, and this is going to be honestly probably a piece of your elevator speech. So you've written your elevator speech, you figured out who you are. In this instance, I'm promoting a 30-day challenge. So if people look at my LinkedIn profile, I want them to see a couple of things. I want them to see that I help economic development organizations, and I want them to subscribe to my newsletter by way of this 30-day challenge that I'm doing. So in this, that's my call to action. For you, your call to action is going to be a little bit more job focused and career oriented, where you're going to want people to look at it and understand and see what your particular strengths are and how you might fit well into their team. Having said that, kind of knowing your target audience, this is I could derail this conversation and get this video to last a lot longer than it is going to by going down the rabbit hole of your target audience. But there are just a couple of points that I want to make here. Understanding that in most instances, you're probably not being hired by your peers. You are going to be hired by somebody that is older than you, and presumably even in a different generation, so has a different perspective and just a slightly different outlook. You might be, interviewing with or reaching out to people who may or may not be as tech savvy as you. You may or may not be reaching out to people who are, introvert versus extrovert, or are in this region or have ever heard of Shepherd University. I mean, you've got all sorts of things that you're going to want to help somebody to understand who you are and what you do, but you also want to be speaking to their problem. So in this instance, I have a problem because I need to hire an employee. I need to hire somebody that is a great writer and that has great interpersonal skills and can work well with a team and work well with different audiences. They need to be able to adapt and communicate well with a 20-year-old intern, but I also need them to be able to relate and communicate and find common ground with a 60-year-old client that is living in a metro area. So again, kind of knowing your audience, knowing who you're communicating with in everything that you do, with from researching the job opportunities to sitting down to the interview and having the follow-up, sending a follow-up note, and even your first day on the job. And we're going to get into those different items in a second. So I just wanted you to be thinking about how important it is to for us all to find common ground. So often, unfortunately, millennials get a bad rep, and Gen Zs, for those of you who are just starting college and or even I guess probably anywhere in college right now in 2019 would be categorized as a Gen Z, and then someone like myself would be a Gen X, and somebody a little bit older would be a baby boomer. So that's kind of what the workforce looks like at the moment. And you want to be able to, relate and understand and communicate with individuals the way that they want to receive the information. So I just want you to kind of have that in the back of your mind. As we sit down to an interview, before we even sit down to an interview, I should say, I want you to research. I want you to find out everything you possibly can. So with the, this is assuming that you've gotten the interview, or even before that, as you're, sending a pitch letter, as you're sending that cold call, making that cold call to find out if somebody is interested. Research. Find out everything you can about that business. Find out everything you can about their client. clients find out everything that you can about that individual that you're connecting with, if you know that there is one particular person that you're trying to talk to. Oftentimes I'm amazed at how little people research before contacting me. It doesn't take much to impress me, but when you have researched just a teeny bit and you find out that because all of this information is on my website, you find out that I went to Shepherd and I'm very involved in the community, and I work in economic development, and all of these different pieces. You want to include that in your pitch email, in your pitch letter, in your pitch phone call. So having a portion of your elevator pitch be about you, and then once you have know who your target is, know who your target audience and you're trying to reach, then you need to flip it around and make it about them and how you and your skills can solve their problem that you have identified through your research. So now because you've done your research, they're really interested in you, they've invited you in for an interview, you are going to go and do a practice drive to make sure that you know where to park, that you know how to get there, that you are familiar with the surroundings. You are going to find out, again, even more information, find out, anything and everything that you can about who you're going to be meeting with. And then you are going to come in and you are going to dress for the job you want, not the job you have, is a phrase that I absolutely love. I don't know where I heard that. It's been years and years and years, but I pass that on to you. And you want to, present yourself, in a way that reinforces your brand in the most positive light, that showcases your skills. And then you want to come in prepared. You want to come in prepared to ask questions. You want to come in prepared to, find out and continue the research process. Find out if, this is a good opportunity, if this is a good fit, if this is a good partnership between you and this prospective employer. And then the follow-up, and this piece gets back to the piece on generations, and there are going to be some, probably kind of the older you are, the more apt you're going to be to respecting a handwritten invitation or handwritten thank you note. The younger you are, you're going to be okay and totally fine with an email. I tend to be somewhat in the middle, but for me, it's all about the speed in which I receive the follow-up. So if I receive a follow-up email, certainly within that day, that's perfect. And a follow-up note, honestly, I would encourage you when you go to that interview to come with, a note that you can fill out in your car, or as soon as you've left the building, and with a stamp already on the note, and drop it in the mail, as you're leaving town or as you're leaving, that place of business. You're not putting it in their mail. They're not paying for the postage, but you have prepared and, are immediately ready for that follow-up, so that the person that just spent a good bit of time invested in you and meeting you and interviewing you sees that you took a little extra effort and came prepared, and were able to very quickly respond with a follow-up note. And then your first day. I recently had a great experience with an intern who sent me an email in advance of the first day and just said, what do I need to do to prepare? It's actually, in almost 17 years of business, I've never had an intern ask me that question. And I've probably had 30 to 40 interns in my day. But I was so impressed that he took the time to ask the question. My response, of course, was about attire. I said we tend to be a very casual work environment, which we had covered in his interview anyway, but I wanted to reinforce it. There isn't anything pressing going on, so you can dress comfortably. You'll want to pack a lunch, or you'll have time to go out, and just come with, a smile and a willingness to learn. And that's exactly what he's done through this internship. So ask the question. don't be afraid to ask the question. I think that again, I was really impressed that that was his way of researching, that was his way of finding out, was simply to ask. So it was a perfect way to start his first day. And with that, I would encourage you to reach out to me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, as I showed that slide, Sandy Sponaugle on LinkedIn. Obviously, I'm honestly kind of obsessed with Instagram. If you want to follow me, or Platinum PR on Instagram, that would be great. And if you have any questions, I would encourage you also to reach out to the Alumni Association. If you haven't joined already, please do so. It's the perfect investment. And I hope that we'll be doing more of these workshops in the future. Until next time.